So first off, congratulations. It's a terrific honor to be part of the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame. And just like to start by having you say what it means to you and your team to be inducted here tonight.
Yeah, it's a huge honor to be here, and with all these other inductees who are just really amazing athletes, amazing coaches and people who've sort of established the game in Canada. So yeah, just to have 6 of us here kind of representing a whole team it's an awesome honor actually to be here.
So what sort of memories do you have of your team and sort of the run that you went on and the success that you had? Pull things out of your memory banks for us to help us sort of put the picture together.
Yeah, well, my memories from the team, so we're talking about the CONCACAF team that was, this championship here in Toronto, which was awesome because it was in our backyard. So I think the first thing that always strikes me is how much support we had in the city. And as the tournament went along and people saw our success, it really built throughout the city. And you just didn't see that much back then. In women's soccer, and so for us to kind of have that sort of momentum was pretty exciting. And it was quite a young team, and I think we didn't necessarily come in thinking that we were necessarily the favorites or anything. So I remember definitely some trepidation, especially from the younger players like myself who had never been at this level of competition before. So yeah, just the momentum that sort of built game by game, and it kind of finished off in the final to take us to the World Cup. It was a pretty exciting time.
So being so young, did it take a long time to sort of realize what you had accomplished in that year? Like, did it take time to sink in, or were you cognizant of what you had accomplished at that time?
I think the players who'd been at previous World Cups, they taught us, right? Like, they really were great at sort of taking us and telling us stories as to what this meant and everything. I think we knew it was big, but it really wasn't until some of those players, and we've had discussions with them over this weekend, just kind of in context what that really meant. If you haven't been there, and that sort of sharing of stories kind of made us realize what this really was. So they helped us kind of figure that out.
What's some of the stories that you've been sharing?
Well, there's one player here, Jerry Donnelly, who's with us, who she had been at a couple players actually had been at the previous World Cup, and see some of the exhibition games and some of the stuff that took them out of the country, and just the level of women's soccer in some of these places, and it's just the conditions and that sort of thing. And I came in at a time where we were treated pretty well, and overall, and just for her to say, like, this is special, like, women's sports is really coming forward, and we just at that time didn't even have the context. So for me to then talk to a player now who's on the team, I mean, they would look at my experience and go, really, like 5,000 people, that's not very good. But at our final game, that's how many people came. But for us, that was huge, right? You just didn't see that back then. So it's those stories, I think, that pass along to make you kind of recognize how historically things have changed a lot.
Just to give it context, this last year, women's soccer has really come into its own and has dominated the headlines. Such a difference from when you started to what it is now. How have you seen the game evolve here in Canada on the women's side of things?
Oh, it's been amazing, absolutely amazing to see it change, and just having the World Cup in the country this last summer. I think people knew it was going to be big, and had high expectations, but to see those expectations get met in terms of the fanfare and just the support the team has, it's really amazing. I think it's something they should be really proud of.
Did you get to take in any of the games?
Yeah, I did. I'm in Edmonton, so we had a couple of the really big games, and the excitement in Edmonton was out of this world. It was really fantastic.
What was it like for you walking into that stadium and seeing filled with fans there for the Canadian games?
Yeah, it definitely brought back memories. So I played in the '99 World Cup, so there were some full stadiums, no doubt, but they weren't necessarily cheering for Canada because it was out of the country. It was in the U.S. So the difference was you see these girls coming in. The traditions are the same. They get walked in by the young girls. It all looked the same. But then, the sea of red. That was really striking. Something I hadn't experienced. So to have them to be able to experience that is amazing.
So what do you think about the state of the women's game today? Is it in a better place than it was in '98? Is it grown? Is it going in the right direction, you think?
Yeah, I'd say one of the most positive changes I've seen is just the level of competition, say even in CONCACAF in general. I mean, we had some lopsided wins in that tournament, and you just don't see that anymore in women's soccer, and I think that's great testament for not only women's sports, but women's sports in some of those countries that, you're talking third world countries, developing countries that have been able to kind of bring up the level of women's sports. I think that's fantastic for those places.
Just to take it back to tonight in this context, what does this announcement and this induction sort of mean for the women's game, for a team such as yourself to be honored here tonight?
I think it's a kind of it's a point in history, right? You're honoring a point in history. I think one of the other inductees mentioned that I think it's good to look back and kind of pause and think, okay, the team is at this point now, like how did we get there? And I think this is one of those teams that's sort of a transition team between, not having a lot of resources at all and really, a developmental sport to being what it is now. We're somewhere in the middle, so I think it's good to take pause and kind of recognize that.
So again, congratulations. Enjoy the evening, and it is a true honor to be inducted in the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame. So
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah.